Hello.
Hello.
Hi, and good evening. And welcome. Yeah, can you hear my voice well? Clearly?
I feel some noise or some lag.
Hello.
Yeah, but I can hear you well.
Sorry, a while ago, what you have said earlier, sorry.
Yeah. So there was a little lag and some noise, but for now it's better. Yeah, it's get better.
Okay, all right. Okay, so thank you so much for that. And good afternoon to you. And I am teacher Emmy of Native Camp. And what is your name?
My name is Koki.
Okay, so yeah, Koki, how are you today?
Today, yeah, I'm very relaxed because I don't have to do work today, Sunday. Yeah, I just enjoy this free
That's
time, me time.
mm,
Yeah.
me time. Okay, that's so nice, dear. Okay, so let's start the lesson. Koki, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Thank you. Okay, so let me first confirm your lesson. And I can see here that you have chosen daily news, okay? And level 8-9. And this is about Seoul invests in combating loneliness epidemic. Am I correct?
You're correct.
Okay, good. So let's move on now to words and phrases. Let us learn some of them with the use of this article. And now let's have the first word and kindly repeat after the audio. Thank you.
Epidemic.
Epidemic.
Okay. Health workers are working to control the epidemic.
Health workers are working to control the epidemic.
Okay, that's good. And Koki, is it okay for you to also make a sentence using this word?
Okay. Oh, sure. So, my first, the epidemic.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Ah,
Okay, okay, okay.
yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah. A while
Mm-hmm.
ago there was some, the sound's kind of breaking a while ago, but
Mm-hmm.
now it's okay.
Okay. So, my the COVID-19 was the epidemic that I experienced worst.
Um, your line is kind of broken, so I just heard the COVID-19 was the epidemic, and then what is
Oh,
after that?
okay. So the COVID-19 was the biggest epidemic that I ever experienced.
Okay, I ever experienced it. Okay. All right. So I just repeat your sentence. So you said earlier the COVID 19 was the biggest epidemic that I ever experienced. Is this your sentence?
Yes, yes, that's correct.
Okay, good. Thank you so much, Koki. That's good and correct. So using the word epidemic also as a noun. Okay.
Isolation.
Isolation,
Okay.
isolation.
She struggled with feelings of, yeah. Okay. So
Okay.
good. So she struggled with feelings of isolation after moving away from her family.
She struggled with feeling of isolation after moving away from her family.
Okay, that's nice. Okay, so kindly make sentence also. Thank you.
Isolation. When I started my uh, when I started my new job, I felt somewhat isolation in my
Mm-mm.
company.
Okay, I just type. Okay, so okay. So you said earlier when I started my job, I felt somewhat an isolation. Am I correct?
Yes.
From my company.
In my company.
My, when I started. Make good. Correct. So using this word isolation also as now move on to the next.
Combat.
Combat.
So the example sentence of combat measures were taken to combat air pollution.
Measures were taken to combat air pollution.
Okay, that's nice. And the kind of next sentence.
Combat.
Mhm.
Combat. I'm a big fan of the game that in which I combat enemies. I combat enemies in the game.
Enemies in the game. All right, I just repeat. So I'm a big fan of the game. Am I correct that I combat enemies in the game?
Yeah.
Is this your sentence?
Yes.
Okay, so a big fan of the game that I combat enemies in the game. Okay. Okay, so yeah, that's also good and correct. So using this word combat also as a verb. Okay, thank you. Let's now move on to the next.
Susceptible.
Susceptible.
People with low immunity are susceptible to flu.
People with low immunity are susceptible to flu.
Mhm.
Employees with high motivation are susceptible to our boss.
Our boss. This is your
Our boss.
okay.
Our boss comment.
Our boss's comments. Okay. Right. So your sentence is okay. So employees with high motivation are susceptible to our boss's comments. Okay, all right. So yeah, that's good and correct. So using this word susceptible also as an adjective. Okay, good. And let's have the last word in this.
Awareness.
Awareness.
Awareness of cybersecurity cybersecurity risks has grown rapidly.
Awareness of cybersecurity risks has grown rapidly. Self-awareness is important to build my career in the future.
All right. So self-awareness is important to build my career in the future. Okay. So yeah, that's good and correct. So using this word awareness as a noun. That's good. Okay. Thank you so much, Koki, for all of the sentences you have made today using the words and phrases in this lesson. Okay. So now we can proceed to this comprehension part and kindly check the directions first.
Okay.
Right. Good. So let me ask you these questions before we listen to the article. Number 1. What are 2 activities that are part of Soul's plan to fight against loneliness? What are 2 activities that are parts of Soul's plan to fight against loneliness? And number 2, what kind of behavior have more young people been demonstrating in South Korea over the past decade? And number 3, what does An Sojung suggest that people do in addition to trying to help others? Okay, at this point, let us first listen to the article and we will listen carefully. It will start now.
Seoul invests in combating loneliness epidemic. An epidemic of social isolation in South Korea has resulted in thousands of its citizens dying alone each year. Seoul's city government now intends to spend $327 million over 5 years to combat the loneliness problem. Mayor Oh Se-hoon says the goal is to help lonely people feel as though they can become a part of society. The city's plan includes more counseling services and organized activities, such as sports and book clubs, that encourage people to interact with others. And Soo Jung is a psychology professor and says these kinds of efforts are absolutely necessary for dealing with the loneliness issue. Social isolation is a condition experienced across different demographic groups in South Korea. In the past decade, a lot more young people have decided to withdraw from the world and just spend their days at home. However, the majority of lonely deaths continue to occur in the high-risk groups of middle-aged and elderly men. A study suggests that Korean culture may make people more susceptible to feelings of loneliness. There is an unhealthy tendency to feel unworthy. South Korea is very achievement-oriented, and falling short of one's own expectations can lead to feelings of failure and isolation. There is a growing awareness of the problem of loneliness across different countries. But Soo Jung warns that there are no easy solutions. She says life in society is tough, and it is a good idea to make time for our own well-being, as well as trying to provide care for others.
Alright, so it's all good.
Yes.
Do you want to listen again? Okay. Alright, so good.
Just,
Okay,
yeah.
let's move on now to the question part. Okay, so the first question is, sorry, Koki, what I have said earlier?
Just enough.
It's all good for you?
It's alright.
Okay. Okay, so let's move on now to the first question. What are two activities that are part of Seoul's plan to fight against loneliness?
The plan activities are counseling services and organized activities are included.
All right, so that is good and correct. So it is found on the second paragraph of these article, counseling services and organized activities. Okay, all right. So let's move on now to the second question. What kind of behavior have more young people been demonstrating in South Korea over the past decade?
In the past decade, a lot more young people have decided to withdraw from the world and just spend their days at home.
Okay, that's perfectly correct. Also, and it is on the third paragraph of the article. And the third question is, what does An Soo-jung suggest that people do in addition to trying to help others?
And Sujin suggests that people make time for our own well-being.
And as well as trying to provide care for others. Okay, all right. So it is found on the fifth paragraph of the article. Okay, so thank you so much, Koki, for all of your answers. So then we can now proceed to the reading parts. You can start reading whenever you are ready.
Seoul invests in combating loneliness epidemic. An epidemic of social isolation in South Korea has resulted in thousands of its citizens dying alone each year. Seoul's city government now intends to spend $327 million over 5 years to combat the loneliness problem. Mayor Oh Se-hoon says the goal is to help lonely people feel as though they can become a part of society. The city's plan includes more counseling services and organized activities such as sports and book clubs that encourage people to interact with others. And Jun is a psychology professor and says these kinds of efforts are absolutely necessary for dealing with the loneliness issue. Social isolation is a condition experienced across different demographic groups in South Korea. In the past decade, a lot more young people have decided to withdraw from the world and just spend their days at home. However, the majority of lonely deaths continue to occur in the high-risk groups of middle-aged and elderly men. A study suggests that Korean culture may make people more susceptible to a feeling of loneliness. There is an unhealthy tendency to feel unworthy. South Korea is very achievement oriented, and falling short of one's own expectations can lead to feeling of failure and isolation. There is growing awareness of the problem of loneliness across different countries, but unsocial there warns that there are no easy solutions. She says life in society is tough, and it is a good idea to make time for our own well-being, as well as trying to provide care for others.
Okay, so thank you so much for reading, Koki. So I heard that you pronounced it clear. Every word in this article is also good. Okay, so then we can now proceed with the discussions question. Okay, so kindly just check the directions there.
So, but before the discussion board, I have one question. So, I'm not clear the expression of in the third paragraph and in
Mhm.
the second sentence. It is says that
One, two, three. Okay.
withdraw from the world. So I'm not familiar with this expression. So I'm not
Ah,
clear.
okay. So it means that you just kind of like to let yourself out from the world like that. So because maybe at some point some people are feeling depressed
Mm-hmm.
or beyond loneliness. So that's why they want to get themselves from the world. So the feeling of they wanted to, this is not a good, this is a negative feeling. So this is like you don't want to get involved with the people around you, or just you really want to be alone by yourself all the time like that. So it's like withdrawing yourself from the world. Mm.
Withdraw myself.
Because you are feeling beyond loneliness now, so very depressed like that.
Very first and decided. So in this sentence, people have decided. So
Mm-mm.
people decide not to communicate with others. Like,
Yes, not to get involved with the
uh,
people around them, or
uh,
yeah, just they just wanted to be with themselves all the time like that. So
okay,
they wanted to be alone. They wanted to be at home only. They don't want to see people around. So these people really somehow are feeling now depressed. So
depressed.
when you say depressed, it's beyond the loneliness, right? Beyond the
Okay.
feeling of loneliness. You want to depart you want to depart yourself from connection to other people. You are preventing that.
I see. I see. So, of course, I saw this phrase, so I felt that this means suicide. Yeah, so because from
Maybe yeah, it has a relation to that,
yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
this is already depression
So,
like that.
so I am now.
Yes.
I understood. I understood now. I get it now. But at first, so I thought that that means
Mm-mm. Oh, okay, okay.
society.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, I was really
Alright.
surprised that yeah now I understand. Okay, thank you.
So these people also has the feeling of suicidal
Mm-hmm.
tendency, or suicidal what you call that, attempts like
Mm-hmm.
that. So because these people, before they go to this kind of situation, suicidal, they will feel lonely at first, and then after that, when they go beyond loneliness, they will feel depressed, and then after that, after feeling depression, this is now suicidal. So that this is not a good, a good feeling anymore. So they have to be helped.
And so in this article, the first sentence says that
Mm.
so
Mm.
thousands of its citizens dying alone each year. this number includes may include the suicide people.
It includes, yeah.
Mhm.
So this is a very serious problem now. So
Yes.
because it's kind of you are taking your life from yourself, right? So
Mhm. Yeah,
that's
thank you.
why.
Yeah, I get it.
You're welcome, Koki. Okay, so any other questions?
Yeah, nothing.
Okay, so thank you so much also for asking. So
Mhm.
now we can now proceed to the discussion part. Okay, so let me ask you the first question. So do you think that you'd rather join book club or sports activity? So which do you prefer, Koki?
Mm. Yeah, so I'd rather join sports activity because I can't imagine. Yeah, so like club activities. So yeah, um what do- what I do in that community like
Okay.
so I
Okay.
want
So
to.
maybe this,
Mhm.
yeah.
Please explain. Do you know
Yeah,
something?
yeah, you can go. You can go ahead.
Okay, so um when I read book, yeah, so I would read book by myself or solely or so
Mm-mm.
alone. I want to
Mm-mm.
read book
Mm-mm.
alone because the pace of reading book is different. Yeah, depending on the people person. Yeah, so yeah, I cannot enjoy reading book with others. So well, I'm not clear the motivation of the book club.
Mm-mm. So that's why you wanted to join for more on sports activities like that.
Yeah,
So
sport activity, sport. Yeah, so naturally needs the cooperation of others. So yeah, so
yes.
sports yeah normally uh, needs others. So yeah, this is natural.
Yeah. The interaction of other.
Yes, interactional. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So thank you so much for that opinion in this first question. And then we can now proceed to the next question, number two. So do you think that in general people are feeling lonelier now than in the past? So what is your thoughts about this?
Mm, yes. Yes. Yes, I do. Yeah. Yeah, because
Mm.
by the development of the internet, so we have our community. We more likely to rely on their connection in the internet, but it is like
Mm.
virtual connection. So
Yes.
yeah, it is not physical. So yeah, in the past, community, our community was always physical community. So we can uh, we can talk with them. In fact, now talk with our friends face to face style. So yeah, but in this internet generation, so our connection is just only in the internet or social media. So that connection is very weak. And if we broke some accounts, the connection is now stopped or yeah disappeared forever. So that is very weak connection.
Yes.
So yeah,
Mm.
relying on that kind of connection is very dangerous, or there are risks to uh, lose our community easily compared to before.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
Mm.
true enough. And of course, by talking with other person face to face and physically, of course, it's it is more sincere,
Mhm.
right? So
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can feel the sincerity because
Uh-huh.
you are talking with the actual person right
Yeah,
after
yeah,
you,
yeah.
right? Or next to you. And then the emotions is very true also.
Mhm.
So that's why there's a big difference between the two.
Yeah.
Alright, so thank you so much
Yeah,
for your
thank
time. Talking to
you.
you again. Bye.